Good morning, guys. Today we are going to discuss about the IO subsystem, which is of module 3. As we discussed in the previous session about that what is the sensors and actuators, that is also part of the IO subsystem, because sensors acts as an input to the embedded system and actuators which is acts as an output of the embedded system. In between any conversion is required, that will be given to the information processing. Once that information will be processed and it will be given to the D to A converter, and this we have seen in the last video sessions. Now today's that what are the various ways of IO subsystems, what are the various IO systems will be there to facilitate the interaction with the input or external world, how it is showing that we are going to look into it today's class. Okay, so the interaction happens through the sensors are input devices and actuators are connected to the input and output ports respectively of the embedded system. So sensors acts an input port and actuators like as an output port, as we seen in the previous slide. So our sensors are giving the input to the embedded system, because this is completely we are telling it as an embedded system, and the output will be given to the actuator. This is not actors, sorry, here this is an actuators will be given to the environment. This is a continuous process which is happening in the embedded system. Now what are the various sensors, or what is the various input systems to the embedded system, and how we are getting the output of from the embedded system, that we are going to look into it. So what are the few IO subsystems is nothing but here light emitting diode, 7-segment LED display, optocoupler, stepper motor, relay, piezo buzzers, push button switch, keyboard. Okay, so these are the few IO subsystems. Which are the things among this categories what we are differentiating here, which are output ports, which are output devices, which are input devices, that we will look into it today. Okay, the first one is light emitting diode. So what is the light emitting diode is nothing but it acts as an output device. Okay, already we know that one. How the LED will be connected is nothing but this is two pins will be there in LED. So one is called as anode, which is connected to the positive terminal, which is called as a VCC, and this is called as a cathode. Cathode is usually connected to the ground. Here the resistor, it is used for limiting the current flow which is given from the VCC to the anode. Okay, now we will look into it. LED can be used to indicate that various signals of status, whether it is glowing or not glowing. For example, if you are giving the remote on or off of your TV, LED display or LCD display, we will come to know by using some LED will be glowing onto the TV. If it is there, then we will feel that system or a TV, it is an on condition. If LED is not glowing, we will think of that a TV or system is not an on condition. So that shows that some examples or some applications that we are going to use in that one. So LED is a PN junction diode, and it contains that anode and cathode here. So what is that? It is representation here is nothing but here the PN junction diode, especially it is which is made up of with semiconductors here. So whenever the light is emitted in the forward biased, then we are calling it as light emitting diode. So whenever the semiconductors are connected in the forward bias, whenever light starts emitting, that we are calling it as light emitting diode. Here there are two ways of that. Here it is called as LED. Here I told that one, the resistor is used for limiting the current flow which is passing to the LED. So that we are using the resistor here. Now what are the ways, how many number of ways that LED can be connected, that we will look into it. See here, by seeing the diagram we can identify very easily. There are two ways of LED will be going, is nothing but once it is glowed, we are calling it as active high, and another one is active low, it will be glowed. Whenever the low input has to be given, then LED will be glowed. Active high, when it will be active, whenever high input has been given. Whenever it is low input has been given, the LED will be active. So that is the name indicates of active high and active low. Now here this is anode, A stands for anode. Anode is connected to the microcontroller port pin, and cathode is connected to the resistor, and which is connected to the ground. So whenever anode is connected to the VCC or microcontroller pin, in the previous slide also we said anode is connected to the VCC. Whenever anode is connected to the microcontroller pin, whenever high input has come from that, obviously the LED will go low. In the same case, If cathode is connected to the microcontroller pin, then whenever the low input has come here, then the LED will be glowing. That's what they are explaining. Anode is directly connected to the port pin, and the port pin drives the LED at the logic high state. So whenever high input has come, the LED will be glowing off. The cathode of the LED is connected to the microcontroller pin, port pin, and anode is connected to the supply voltage, which is called as, here the supply voltage has been given here. So LED is turned on when the port pin is at logic 0. Whenever it is giving logic 0, then LED will be connected to high because it is connected to cathode. Okay, if it is connected to anode, whenever it is high, it will be glowed. If it is connected to the cathode, whenever it is low, the LED will be glowing off. That's what their representation. So if it is 0, it will be glowing whenever it is to be connected to the cathode. Whenever it is connected to the anode, whenever high will be given, then LED will be going off. That's what the representation of I/O subsystem. It acts like an output device. Okay. So next one, it is 7-segment LED display. The 7-segment LED display is also an output device. Already we know this concept very well in the analog and digital electronics, what we have studied in the previous semester. Okay, it contains 8 segments will be there. What is that 8 segment is nothing but 7 segments are A to G. Another one is a decimal point. So the DP stands for decimal point. Here there are 2 different type of configurations are there. One is called as common anode configuration, another one is called as common cathode configuration. So here in the common cathode or anode configuration, this is the diagram. If you look into the slide, you will come to know very clearly. In the common anode configuration, see this anode part, this is cathode part. The anode part of all the segments, all the LEDs will be connected here. So if it is connected to the VCC or ground, according to that it will be glowing if it is active, high or low. If it is connected, all anode part of the LEDs are connected here, then we here call it as common anode configuration. If the cathode part of the LED is connected commonly here, then we are calling it as a common cathode configuration. Okay, so this is if it is connected to the port pin, if it is active, low or high, same thing in the previously how we are telling about the previously, the same thing will be connected here. So here if common cathode, in the common cathode, usually what we will tell here it is that order how the logic will be glowing of LED is nothing but if common cathode it will be there, that we are calling it as logic 0, common anode will be there, we are calling it as logic 1. Okay, so that is that anode is connected to logic 1, cathode is connected to logic 0, as we seen in the hardware programs of our lab. The common cathode configuration has been given. During that, if 0 will be there, the LED will be glowing off. Same thing, common anode is nothing but here keep in mind that anode is nothing but it will act to high during logic 1 state. Common cathode is nothing but it will be high during logic 0 state. Okay, this is that 7-segment LED configuration. Okay, now and let us move to the next slide. This is next one is the third kind of I/O subsystem, I/O device optocoupler. See here the optocoupler which is used for isolate the 2 circuits. If you see in the diagram, here IR LED, infrared LED, phototransistor. Here there are 2 circuits are there, that's what the name has been given here, circuit 1 and circuit 2. So what the circuit 1 is connected with the LED and circuit 2 is connected to with that phototransistor. So what it will happen here is nothing but here optocoupler, the basic meaning of that is called as combining an LED and phototransistor in a single housing or in a single wiring here. What is that here? It will be here the LED diode which is acts like an input and switching element for output. Here if you cannot see the light, obviously if you cannot see the light here, obviously the output it will not be transistor. What the basic logic behind here, it is nothing but the optocoupler which will isolate the circuit. Okay, it is isolating the IR LED and phototransistor. Whenever the circuit pin number 1 is current is flowing here, the LED start glowing,
during that time, if that photo transistor, it is not detecting the photo signal here, any sensing it is not done by here, the output will not be, the circuit 2 will not be connected. Whenever infrared light is glowing on, whenever the current is flowing through this photo transistor, then the LED light will be transmitted to the photo transistor. It starts sensing, then circuit 2 will be started communicating or started working on it. That's what the basic thing of the basic working of the optocoupler. So there is no any connection, wired connection will not be there. Depends on the LED, the infrared LED, depends on the sensing of the LED rays. That only the photo transistor will start working here. Repeating once again, the circuit 1 is connected with the circuit 2. There is no wired connection is not there in between. Depends on the IR infrared LED, glowing of an LED. Depends on that emitting of that light, the photo transistor, if it is sensing properly, that time, during that time 3 and 4 should be connected. So it senses that light, according to that circuit 2 will be connected. Same thing we will see here, optocoupler is input and output circuit, how it is connecting here. The VCC is connected to the photo transistor. Here this is the input interface of an LED. Whenever the LED glows, during that time the photo transistor senses that it starts emitting the light, then it will be connected to the port pin. Again the same thing, if it is connected during the same time, if that LED starts glowing, again it is connected to the output interface. So the microcontroller, which acts an interface between the input interface and output interface by using optocouplers. This is the way, one of the applications. Here what is that mainly used for is nothing but it is suppressing the interferences, any interferences and noises, and data will be communicated from the input interface to the output interface. Only depends of LED glowing, the emitting of LED, according to that it passes the some kind of sensing will happen on the photo transistor. So it is used for circuit isolation. High voltage will be separated simultaneously, and this is the way we are using that optocouplers in that using LED as well as photo transistor. Okay, now let us moving into the stepper motor. I hope you people understood the concept of optocoupler. So optocoupler is used for either input or output circuits. Okay, so let us move to the next slide. Next one is next move to that stepper motor. Stepper motor, which is an electromechanical device. Usually it is differ from the DC motor. DC motor works fastly, rotates fastly, whereas our stepper motor will works in a stepwise angle. Okay, for every step, actually it will be rotated in the 360 degrees. Each and every step will be calculated here. The step angle will be calculated. So usually 1.8 degree will be there for each and every step angle of our stepper motor. So here which of the applications that we are going to use our stepper motor? The stepper motor, which is nothing but which is used for a printer or fax, paper feeding mechanism of a printer or fax, some kind of fax makes use of stepper motor for its functioning. These are the usual applications that we are using our stepper motor. Okay, let us move to the next slide. So see here, the stepper motor contains some coil winding arrangements will be there. There are two phase motors will be there. What are the two phases? Unipolar and bipolar. Keep in mind, stepper motor, it is based on the coil winding arrangements will be there. Okay, so according to that, unipolar and bipolar will be there. What is meant by unipolar is nothing but, see here there are 4 windings are there, but here this is one winding, this is completely one winding. In between the A and C, which is connected to the ground, B and D, one edge of that it is connected to the ground. Here how many number of connection wires are required? This is one connection wire of A, another wire of A, C, B, D, and this is the fifth connection. So 5 wires are required here to communicate here. Here the unipolar is working in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. Here how the current is flowing from one phase to another phase. Okay, from one winding to another winding. This is completely one winding, this is another winding. So how it is currently flowing, according to that the coil will be the current flowing in one direction through one coil and opposite direction through other coil. According to that, that stepper motor will start rotating here. Here we are calling it as a stator and rotors will be there. Stator is called as the circle part, we are calling it as a stator. The rotor rotates properly. Okay, now it is here it is easy to shift the directions, depends on the polarities, positive and negative. If we are giving the positive, obviously this will become negative, that we will see here, that we will see in the next coming up of slides. Okay, in the slide that we will see. And see this is called as unipolar, and next one is called as bipolar. So here a single winding phase is there. Here how many winding phase are there? 2 winding per phase it is there. Here how many windings are there in a particular phase? Only 1 winding is there. Can you identify? There are 2 windings per phase. A is one winding, C is another winding, B is another winding, D is another winding. So this is completely one phase, this is completely another phase. So in the bipolar, only 1 winding per phase will be there. How many number of wires are required? A1, A2, B1 and B2. This is an example of that one. So here it also performing that clockwise direction and anti-clockwise direction. Now we'll see how it is happening. Here the stepping modes are supported by the stepper motor. There are full step, half step, wave step will be there. So depends on the phases how it is energized. According to that, the coils will be started rotating, so that the rotor will start rotating according to this. Now see here, for example, if the coil is energized with a positive energy is nothing but high, and negative we are calling it as a low. If the this polarity we are giving it as a high, obviously the C of another polarity will become low. For example, if this polarity has become high, obviously this will become low, this will become low. If you are becoming this is high, obviously what will happen? This will become low. So let us look into that step here. What is the first step? If A is becoming high, obviously C will become low, and B is becoming high, then what will happen? D will become low. So it is started rotating like this in the clockwise direction. Now let us make the coil A as low, obviously C will become high, and I am reminding that another phase of the coil B and D that retains in the same position. B is high and D is low. So this is still more, it is started rotating. So how that coils are energized, the polarities according that starter starts rotating one step by one step. See in the third point, A is becoming low, obviously C will become high, and A has become low and D will become high. So the waves, the number of waves it will be energized according to that starter started rotating here. Now let us move to the next slide. So in that wave step, in the next one is called as only one phase will be energized here. One phase will be, we are going to give the positive polarity. So if coil A has become positive polarity, the rest of the phases that we are keeping it as a low. Then started one coil of winding. If second phase, if you are giving that coil B has been energized, obviously the rest of the polarities will become connected to negative, it is connected to ground. So this is called as wave step. And next one is called as the combination of full step and half step. Wave step will become the wave step here. So this is called as, here I have wrote here it as a half step, it is a wave step. Here the full step is nothing but the first, what is the previous step? High, high, low, low. A is energized, D will become low, B is energized and D will become low. According to that, it is a combination of full step and half step will become the wave step of that one. Okay, this is the representation of the stepper motor. Here the stepper motor can be reversed in anti-clockwise directions also, which is where we are using in embedded applications. Here what is the supply voltage of that is normally varies from 5 volts to 24 volts. Okay, so usually the little high and the port pins of the microcontroller person may not be able to drive them directly. Compulsory the stepper motor, because little high current is required, so that we cannot drive them directly. Some interfaces circuits are required for this. See, for that interfacing of circuits, what is that? The port pin of the microcontroller which is interfaced with the driver IC 2803. Then from that it is connecting to the stepper motor. See here, this is a unipolar. how many phase windings are there for every phase. A and C is one phase, B and D is one phase. How many number of windings are required? A is one, and this is connected to VCC. C is another one, B is another one, D is another one. So for communicating the stepper motor, for interfacing the stepper motor to the microcontroller, one driver is required 2803, because it is working on high voltage is required, so that it has to the microcontroller processor requires some interfacing is required to operate the stepper motor. Okay, if you have any doubts, already I have sent a video, one more video, just go through that to understanding the clear idea and working principle of stepper motor. Okay, let us move to the next slide. The next slide which explains you the next concept, which is explaining about the I/O devices, which is called as relay. Okay, relay is an electromechanical device, okay, which is having the dynamic path selectors for signals and powers. Okay, here the relay unit, which is containing a coil made up of insulated wire on a metal core and a metal armature with one or more contacts. I will show you an example so that you will come to know the clear idea of the relay system. So whenever the voltage is applied to the relay coil, I'll show the example here. This is called as relay coil. Okay, here in the relay coil, this is armature, which is that windings, the coil will be there. Okay, the current flows through the coil, which in turn generates the magnetic field. Whenever the current is flowing this coil, then it starts some electromagnetic field will be generated. Okay, when voltage is applied to the relay coil, when a voltage is applied from here part, then it starts generating the electromagnetic fields. The magnetic field attracts the armature core and moves the contact point. So this is attracting to that armature core, so that the contact will happen here. The contact point will charges the power or signal flow to the path, then it start communicating the another circuit. So this is called as a relay driver. We are calling it as a driver circuit, which is connected to the processor or controller pin. Now here there are various ways of that will be there. Single pole, single throw, normally it will be in open state. Single pro, these are the various relays, types of the relays, which is nothing but relay configuration. Single pole, single throw configuration has only one path for information flow. Has only one path for information flow. Here this will be either opened or closed. Now this is called as single pole, single throw. Normally it will be closed here. So this is called as when a relay is energized, it will become closed and start executing the circuit, start communicating with the circuit. Now single pole, double throw, there are two paths of information flow will be there. They are selected by energized or de-energizing the relay. Either it will be energized or de-energized. So these are the various relay configurations. Now let us see an example, and repeating once again, when the voltage is applied to the coil, it start energizing the coil, which generates the magnetic field. The magnetic field attracts the armature core and moves the contact point to close or open. So this is normally in open state, this is normally in closed state. So this is called as normally open state. That's what we are calling as single pole, single throw switch. This we are calling it as single pole, single throw. Usually we are calling it the normally closed switch configuration. Now this is an example of that. This is I think it is not possible to visible to you. This is the headlights of the car. While driving the car, how the headlights will be on. So this is directly the circuit whatever has been given. The switch of one side of the switch is connected to plus 12 volts voltage here, DC voltage. The another side it is connecting to the circuit here. Here whenever the switch is pushed here while driving that, so whenever it is switched, the coil terminal of the relay is started connecting that circuit. So the electromagnetic in the relay got energized, makes the switch closed, so that headlight will be glowing. How that electromagnetic in the relay will be energized? This way. I think you can identify. There is no physical contact in between, it is not there. Once the switch is on in that one, obviously the core part of this will be energized. The armature core of this will be activated due to the electromagnetic fields. This is called as electromagnetic fields. So once that electromagnetic fields will be there, it makes the switch to contact, so that the headlight will be glowing on that one. I think so that you will come to know the clear idea. once it is energized the coil, it starts generating the magnetic fields, so that the armature core will be closed, so that it will be communicating with the headlight. This is one example that we are going to look into it. So let us move to the next one, is called as piezo buzzer. So the piezo buzzer is nothing but some audible sound will come from that one small kind of output device. It generates only audio signals. So we will I have seen in the net here, it is some sounds which is very some sounds for kids and all, twinkle twinkle. So the sound will generate that kind of sounds, various kinds of sounds will be generated. So here it is called as, it contains a electric diaphragm which produces audible sounds. Then how many number of ways we can produce the sounds is nothing but piezoelectric buzzers will be self-driving, external driving. Self-driving is nothing but necessary components. What is that? Self-driving contains necessary components to generate at a predefined tone. Some predefined will be there that will be generated. So external driving piezo buzzers is nothing but various type of different tones will be given, so that it will generate that sounds. So here that depends on the variable pulses will be given to the electric buzzers, according to that it will generate a predefined tones, or it is generating the different kinds of tones. Now we will see with an example. See, this is an example of piezo buzzer. So I want to show you an example, okay, which I have downloaded as very small video on that. See here, this is a battery which is connected to the piezo buzzer. How the positive energy and negative which is connected to the ground here, according to that the piezo buzzer will work. Now I started playing about this, then you will come to know what is the working of piezo buzzer. So this is the way it is connected with the piezo buzzer. So it is a predefined, because it is not defining various kinds of sounds. So another YouTube video it is there. Okay, it is fine. You just search that video in the YouTube. You will get that different kinds of sounds of external piezo buzzer, which is that external driving piezo buzzer will come into the picture. Okay. Let us move to the next IO subsystem, which is called as push button switch. The push button switch is nothing but an input device. All these times we have seen the output device, LED, 7-segment LED, stepper motor, all these things which is called as output devices. Now we have looked into that input device. So here the input device which is called as, there are two different type of, it is normal switch. Okay. So the push button switches of two configurations are there. Push to make, push to break. Push to make is nothing but whenever the push is happening, when you are pressing that switch, obviously the circuit will be contacted, it starts working. Push to break is nothing but usually the circuit is in on condition. Whenever you are pushing it, obviously it will break. That's what they are telling here. The switch is normally in the open state. It makes a circuit contact whenever the push is pressed. Okay, another one is push to break configuration is nothing but the switch is usually closed state, and it breaks the contact whenever the push is pressed. Okay, now I will show you an example of an push button switch here. This is an example of that one. See, the VCC is connected to the one part of the port pin is connected to the VCC and another part is connected to the switch. Here, whenever this is closed, it will generate that low pulse generated. Here it is called as high pulse generated. So push to make and push to break configuration, the switches configuration. Whenever it will be low, it will be activated. Whenever the pulse is high, it will be activated. So that's what we are calling it as low pulse generated and high pulse generated. So this is the general diagram of the switch here. Whenever it is pushed, it will make the contact. Now I will show you one small video, which is that how the push switch button will work it out. Okay, one second. See, this is an example. See, the LED is glowing.
This is a review of this NC momentary push button switch. Basically, it has two leads in the bottom, and it's powered on when the switch is just sitting there. Once you press it, that turns the switch off. It's the opposite of most switches. Most switches you find are hand on. This is NC, normally closed.
So here in this video, whenever the push button is pressed, obviously the LED will not glow. It is connected to a battery. Okay, so whenever it is pushed, the LED will not be glowed. If otherwise it will be there in the open state. That's what this application which is explaining here. I hope you understood the concept very well. Let us move to the next slide. The next I/O subsystem, which is called as a keyboard. The keyboard is an input device user interfacing. Here there is the keyboard, which is nothing but switches will be there. What is that? That I'll show you an example here. This is the keyboard interfacing. Here 4 rows and 4 columns will be there. Already we have a keyboard interfacing hardware program which will be there. In the hardware programming, it is the columns all are connected to VCC, and row will be initialized to the switch will be connected in between the contact of row and column. Okay, so here the push button switches can be used for pressing that each and every keys. The number of keys are there 4 by 4, each and every key which is generating alphanumeric keypad. So usually in our program we have generated 0 to F, 0 to 9, which is a numeric character, alpha characters A, B, C, D, E, F, because hexadecimal values. For each and every time when you are pressing the key, the port will be activated according to the GPIO pins of the processor or controller is used to it is that using about the pins and all. Okay, now so there are 4 columns and 4 rows will be there. So there is a 16 keys will be there, and in that this is used for identifying that the key is pressing here. In that whenever the microcontroller, this row part which is connected to the microcontroller processor part, because it is connected to the LPC2148. Okay, from that it is connected to the microcontroller. The columns are connected to the processor pins here. For every pin of columns and rows will be connected to some pins of the LPC2148. So that keyboard, hex keyboard, which is nothing but an input device used for interfacing. Already it is we have seen an example. Okay, I hope you understood all these concepts. What we are explaining here is nothing but I have explained about that LED. Okay, anode and cathode, 7 segment LED, as well as relays, stepper motor, and push button switches, and piezo buzzers and keyboards. Okay, I hope you understood the concept very well. If you have any doubts, contact me. Thank you very much.